Hello and welcome to day 16 of the Business English Idiom Challenge. We're getting started a little bit later than I planned, but welcome to you whether you're going to watch live or whether you are watching on the replay. Today we are looking at business English idioms related to communication. And I'm going to jump right in, just quickly remind you that an idiom is a phrase that has a different meaning to its literal meaning, so you need to learn them a bit by bit, and really help with your fluency and help you understand, especially when you hear native speakers using them. They're not used in written communication because they're quite informal in a business context, and we want to use them sparingly, so not all at once. Excuse me, goodness. Today we are looking at these idioms: cut to the chase, put it in writing, get the message across, get the word out, and clear the air. And as always, I'm going to show you the idioms in context first and just have you think from the context, can you start to get a feel for them? I'll read this short extract out. I might explain some of the vocabulary as I go along this first time. I will read it out at the end as well, and I'll explain it step by step so that it all makes sense. Hopefully it makes a lot more sense once we've studied the idioms. Okay, so here's all of the idioms that we're looking at in context. All right, folks, I want to clear the air after the last meeting where many of you were frustrated and felt that we didn't get our key message across well. To avoid confusion, I'll cut to the chase. We need to focus more on eco-friendly designs. What that means is that at least 80% of our new collection must use recycled materials. We'll put that in writing with our suppliers so we were all on the same page moving forward. We've already studied that idiom in earlier days. To be on the same page means to be in agreement. So this person is talking about a communication that they need to get across to their team. Let's look at the second paragraph. This is a big change and it will affect a lot of you in a myriad of ways. There's a really good formal phrase. A myriad of ways just means many. Myriad means many. So this is a big change and it will affect a lot of you in a myriad of ways, or many, many ways, hopefully all positive. Watch out for some upcoming emails and meeting invitations that will be part of fully getting the word out to everyone. Okay, there you go. All the idioms in context, and a few vocabulary words thrown in as well. We will come back to that at the end and I will go through it step by step, but just wanted to give you a feel for the idioms before we jump in to looking at them individually. We're going to start with cut to the chase, and I'll give you two examples and then I'll explain what it means. So let's cut to the chase and discuss the key issues. Unfortunately, a few people rambled on. It should say a bit. Apologies. Rambled on a bit in the meeting rather than cutting to the chase, and as a result, we ran out of time. To ramble on means to talk excessively. So some people rambled on instead of cutting to the chase. So what do you think cut to the chase means? If it's the opposite of ramble on, to ramble on being to talk and talk and talk and talk, cut to the chase means to get to the point or important part of something without wasting time. So when you cut to the chase, you get to the point, you are direct, you go straight to the heart of the matter. So in a business context, it can often be really useful to cut to the chase and be really precise in how you are communicating. But I do just want to point out that everyone has different communication styles, and telling backstory, extra details, illustrating your point, all of these extra things that are not cutting to the chase, I feel, perhaps because I don't cut to the chase well, I feel a part of what makes us human. So, yes, in a business context, it's good to cut to the chase, but also stories are part of what make us human. Anyway, we can cut to the chase in a conversation, a meeting, a negotiation. It's a good phrase to use when you are kind of warning the person, okay, I'm going to be very direct now. I'm going to focus on the most important things. So if we go back to that example where it was in context, they said, to avoid confusion, I'll cut to the chase. So it's like, okay, folks, we're going to really focus. I'm going to cut to the chase. The opposite of cutting to the chase is rambling on or beating around the bush. So if you like to ramble on and tell lots of stories, then you beat around the bush. I'm a bit someone who does ramble on a little bit, and I do like to tell kind of extra stories when I'm describing something. So I sometimes beat around the bush. Okay, so that would be the opposite of cut to the chase. Here's a prompt for you. How do you feel when someone doesn't cut to the chase and beats around the bush? So, for me, it depends on the context. If I am in a meeting, it drives me to a high level of frustration when someone doesn't cut to the chase and they beat around the bush. But if I'm listening to someone, then I often enjoy when someone beats around the bush a little bit and doesn't cut to the chase. And I'm really aware that there are aspects of being of having neurodivergence, which means having a brain that works in a different way. For example, people with ADHD, that this is characteristic of how they communicate. And so I want to be respectful of that. So for me, it depends on different situations. But I would say basically, when someone doesn't get cut to the chase, I feel frustrated in meetings. What about you? I would love if you want to practice using this idiom and put your practice sentence in the comments. Okay, put it in writing. This one is very straightforward, so we won't spend too much time on it. It's a kind of an idiom that it's an idiomatic phrase. Like you can actually figure this out pretty easily. So can you put your proposal in writing so we can review it more thoroughly? I'm not sure I trust them not to try to create some scope creep. Let's put the terms of the project in writing. If you were with me when we talked about moving the goalposts, that idiom means the same as scope creep, which means to expand what is required of the project after it's already been agreed. So they're saying, I don't trust them not to ask us for more and more and more. I don't trust them not to add some scope creep. Let's put the terms of the project in writing. So if you put something in writing, you put it in writing. You write it down. So you express something in a written form rather than verbally. But we use it in the context of let's cover our back. Let's protect ourselves. Let's document it and record it. So I'm not sure I trust them. Let's put it in writing. Or let's make it very clear. Let's put it in writing. This is something that happens a lot in a professional context in the UK, far more than I saw it happen in Canada. So in the UK, it's really common to try to create a record of things so that you have it in writing. So often things like you might have a conversation with someone, a manager perhaps, or a client or someone in the workplace. And then after you've had that verbal conversation, an email will be sent that says something like, it was a pleasure to speak with you today. Just to confirm, we discussed X, Y, and Z. And this is what we've decided. I look forward to moving forward. Thank you. Why would you send an email that is exactly the same as the conversation you've just had? Well, the reason is you wanted to put it in writing. You want to have a record of what was said so that if there's a disagreement, the other person needs to say immediately in the email, oh, that's not what I understood. No. And if they don't, then that's the record. You've put it in writing. So in the UK, a lot of things get put in writing. How important do you think it is to put agreements in writing? This might depend on the situation. It might be a cultural thing. Um, Daniela says, I think it makes sense. I do it too. Hello, Daniela. Welcome. Don't worry, everyone. I won't bring up all of your comments, but it is so exciting when people are watching and joining in, and I massively appreciate that. So thank you, Daniela. Yes, maybe in many other countries as well, people like to put it in writing. And I see that a few people have joined. I would like to say thank you for joining live, and also thank you if you're watching on the replay. I really appreciate it. So go ahead and have a go at practicing with that, either putting it in the comments or grabbing ChatGPT and asking it to have a back and forth conversation with you about whether it's important to put things in writing so that you can practice speaking that way. Okay, moving on to get the message across. Here's some examples. I hope my presentation gets the message across effectively. We need to find a better way to get the message across to our target audience, the people we want to speak to. Okay, so this is very similar to put it in writing. You can get a really good feel for what this means when you think about message and getting something across. It means to successfully communicate or to make someone understand a message or idea. So when a business talks about getting the message across, they want to convey a sense of the brand, a sense of the values, communicate clearly what they're doing in the marketplace, make sure that the customer understands what's being offered. So we can talk about communicating clearly, conveying your values or ideas, making sure that you're understood. So we can get the message across through a speech, through advertisements, or through campaigns, or even get the message across within written form. So it's making sure that you're clearly understood and that your values and ideas are expressed well. So what strategies do you use to get your message across effectively? So think about your day-to-day work life, whether you are communicating with colleagues or you are promoting something. What's really important in terms of communicating your ideas and values, and how do you make sure that you do that well? So to get my message across, I really focus on the idea that you don't need to be perfect and that done is better than perfect. And my mission with what I do is to help people move past procrastination and be more confident giving things a go and trying. And so I really, everything that I do, try to get the message across that it's okay to make mistakes. And that is part of the design process, part of the learning process, and part of moving forward, that we want to fail and then fix it and then keep going. That's part of the message that I try to get across. What about you? What are the core values and ideas that you focus on communicating? Okay, another communication one, get the word out. Okay, some examples. We need to get the word out about our upcoming event. Social media is a powerful tool to get the word out quickly. So this is different from get the message across, which is communicate your ideas and values. You're getting information out there into the world, but it's slightly different. So if you're getting the word out, you're spreading information or news to as many people as possible. So to get your message across is to make sure you're understood. To get the word out is to make sure that many people hear the message. So we can talk about spreading the word, announcing something, publicizing something. So get the word out about an event, a promotion, or a new product. We often use this to describe events. Like, we need to get the word out about our new launch event. So I think publicize is a really good synonym for it. Okay, how do you usually get the word out about important announcements? Is it common to send emails to get the word out in your daily life, in your professional life? How is the word? How do you get the word out? So some situations it might be that a mass email is sent, or maybe it trickles down through a hierarchy of people communicating it face to face. So I usually get the word out by sending emails to my team. Have a think about it. Again, I would love if you'd like to experiment in the comment section. Okay, this one is a bit different. Clear the air. Let's clear the air and talk about what happened. We had a productive meeting and managed to clear the air on some important issues that have caused frustration. Have you ever walked into a room and no one's speaking, but you just know that there was an argument? It's almost like the negative energy perhaps hangs in the air, or you can kind of see and feel that there was an argument that just happened. If you clear the air, you acknowledge that. So it means to resolve or eliminate tension or misunderstanding in a situation by discussing it openly. So walking into the room, you can see that everybody's annoyed with each other and you say, "Oh, is everyone okay? What happened?" You are acknowledging that there's an issue and intending to make it better. So those two things. One, recognize that there's an issue. Two, intend to make it better by discussing it. So we can talk about resolving or addressing or discussing openly. So we clear the air in conversations and meetings and relationships. So in a business setting, this clearing the air would mean discussing frustrations and tensions. And that would be different from clearing the air in personal situations, which is more about, discussing frustrations, yes, but also like reconnecting with people. Okay, what is the best way to clear the air? Personally, I feel the best way to clear the air is to allow each person involved to have a chance to express their frustrations and then to decide as a group how to move on. And in a meeting, that might mean talking about problems at the beginning of the meeting. I've worked on a lot of teams where might seem like a negative thing to do that, but it's actually been productive. What we call a check-in. How are we doing? How are things going? What are any frustrations that people are feeling? That can sometimes clear the air. What about you? In your fields, do you have a chance to clear the air with your colleagues or in different professional situations? See if you can use that idiom in a context that works for you. Okay, we're back at the beginning again, and we'll look at all the idioms in context, and I'll stop and pause and just go over what the meaning is. Okay, here we go. All right, folks, I want to clear the air, so I want to resolve the issues and get rid of the tension between us. I want to clear the air after the last meeting where many of you were frustrated and felt that we didn't get our key message across well. So lots of you were frustrated and you felt like you didn't understand the changes that were coming, and you didn't understand what they were trying to communicate with you. Okay, to avoid confusion, I'll cut to the chase. So to avoid confusion, I'll be really direct and I'll just focus on the main thing that I want you to understand without telling extra stories. So I'll cut to the chase. I'll be direct. We need to focus more on eco-friendly designs. What that means is that at least 80% of our new collection must use recycled materials. Okay, so there's been an issue with people not understanding the change, and then this person has come along and said, "I'm going to be very direct. This is what you need to understand." And then the last sentence in paragraph 1, they say, "We'll put that in writing with our suppliers so we were all on the same page moving forward." So we will put that in writing. We will make a record of it so that it can't be disputed and no one can claim that they didn't know, so that we are all in agreement. On the same page means in agreement. Okay, the last paragraph. This is a big change and it will affect a lot of you in a myriad of ways. So in many different ways. That's a really formal way of saying that, a myriad of ways. It will affect you in many different ways, hopefully all positive. Watch out for some upcoming emails and meeting invitations that will be part of fully getting the word out to everyone. So kind of stay tuned. We are going to get the information given to everybody. We're going to get the word out. Okay, well done for sticking through. Hopefully, that made more sense the second time that you got to it. We're going to do a really quick quiz and then we're going to wrap up. So, number one, after the misunderstanding, they had a meeting to something and resolve the issues. Which one would you choose? Have a think whether you are live or whether you are watching on the replay. Would you choose A, B, C, or D? They had a meeting to cut to the chase, to put it in writing, to clear the air, or to get the word out. There might be more than one. It might change the meaning a little bit, but which would you choose that could fit? Okay. Number two, the company wanted to something about the new product launch through social media. A, wanted to cut to the chase about the new product launch, put it in writing, get the message across about the new product launch, or get the word out. For number two, which one do you think would fit best? Okay, so thank you for playing along, Miranda. Welcome, and thank you for your contribution. So Miranda says number C for number one, I believe. What do you think? What would work? What are your choices for number one and number two? And number two, D. Okay, thank you for joining in. Let's look at the answers. So number one, C, you got it, Miranda. Well done. So after the misunderstanding, they had a meeting to clear the air and resolve the issue. So this makes sense because clearing the air means the same as resolve. You could also say they had a meeting to cut to the chase and resolve the issues. But that changes the context. It doesn't quite fit. So if they had an issue with, talking about too many things, they might cut to the chase to resolve the issues. But I think what makes absolutely the most sense is C, they wanted to clear the air and resolve things. Okay, so well done, Miranda. Number two, I'm going to get out of the way. Number two, D, the company wanted to get the word out about the new product launch through social media. Well done, Miranda. You got both of them right. Thank you, everyone, for joining in, those of you watching live and those of you on the replay. I really appreciate you being here. I hope you can make it for tomorrow's. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.